You know what I don't see very often? Mid to small sized whales. You know, aside from every time I look in the mirror. Large content creators who spend exorbitant amounts of money C6ing every single 5-star that comes out and sometimes even getting their R5 weapons are a dime a dozen. Now don't get me wrong. Sometimes I wish I could be them, but quite frankly, I cannot afford that. Probably for the better. But what does an account look like that doesn't spend as much as a gigantic whale, but spends more than the average free-to-play player? About 5,500 more than them. Which is an insane amount, especially compared to a free-to-play player, but I am a lot closer to being a free-to-play player than I am to being somebody like Tectone. You know, just as a doctor is a lot closer to being a McDonald's employee than they are to being Jeff Bezos, who gets to build a super yacht and destroy a bridge just to get it out of where he built it. Not just any bridge, a historic bridge that was deemed a national monument. Mo money, less bridges. I mean, unless you're Jeff Bridges, then you're fine. So where has my money gotten me so far? The 5.5 grand is a total that I needed to find out when I needed to do my level best not to accidentally commit tax fraud. Which is eye-opening not only for how little school prepares you for that, but for how much you're spending on Genshin Impact. But anyway, I've always had one simple goal with my account, and that is to own at least one copy of every character, 5-star or 4-star. Which did mean once upon a time, I was there desperately hoping for Chi-Chi to show up, not in the form of a lost 50-50, but just on a standard banner wish. And I eventually got her, and benched her forever. I have been keeping up with this. I get every character. I see 6 almost every 4-star when they come out, unless they're just being a dick to me like Toma was. And unfortunately, ever since shortly after Inazuma came out, I've grown a little bit of an addiction to getting Constellation 2s for 5-stars because they just keep making them so good. I don't get all of them, but that has been... the frequency has been going up rapidly. The same thing can also be said for signature 5-star weapons. Sometimes they're just too enticing for me to pass up, like in the case of Staff of Homo, where I even got 2 of them, one for my Hu Tao, one for my Zhongli. Now there are multiple characters that I intentionally got constellations for, whether it be a C1 like Hu Tao, or plenty of my C2 characters which I quickly flash in the beginning, like Ito, Shenhe, Ayato, Raiden Shogun, Zhongli. Then there are the characters I accidentally got constellations for by getting really lucky with wishes and just either getting them in the same 10 pull or they came back to back as I was trying to get a 4-star. These two being Albedo and Yoimiya, 2 constellations I really don't care for having, but it's whatever, they didn't really cost me anything. Every 4-star is at max constellation, but there are 2 that gave me a lot of pain getting, and that is Toma and Yanfei. I actually didn't ever intend to get C2 Zhongli, but it took me so long to get my Yanfeis that I ended up getting 2 copies of them. There are a lot of characters I used to like dream getting constellations for, like Child and Ganyu and Xiao, but honestly, now seeing the Constellation 2s they come out with now and how cool they are, those older ones don't really entice me much, and even if they come back on reruns, I'm never gonna roll for their constellations, not unless I start to roll like I'm a Leviathan. Now resources. Resources is where I think small whale accounts really look different than what people expect. For an account like mine where I roll for every character and I intend to build every character to some extent, I'm spreading my resources out very thin. A free-to-play player, or rather a low-spending player who buys the Battle Pass and Welcome Moon and stuff, and they spend all their resin and do everything as efficiently as they can, they actually generally have stronger characters than any copy of mine would be on my account, unless you're looking at one of my new Constellation 2 5-stars. There's also, however, the added layer of weapons on top of that. You know, they can have the equal constellation of me, but sometimes I have a 5-star weapon on them. Not always the signature, but often a 5-star weapon on my DPS. And here's where you can get your pitchforks out. I have been exceedingly lucky on the weapon banner. What? I almost always win my 25-75, and beyond that, I always win the 50-50 as well. Except in the case of where I have 2 elegies, because I tried to get Ayato's sword, and I did not. If you're maybe wondering about my multiple ammo bows, here's a little tip for you. I mean, it doesn't have to be a tip. You don't have to take this advice. This is just how I play and how I do things. I don't refine 5-star weapons. I'd rather save an extra copy of one no matter how niche it may be in hopes that one day another character will want it and that I will have it, because there's no way to split it up once you do it. Beyond the fact that I don't like swapping weapons, the damage gained from refining 5-star weapons is usually pretty damn tiny, and I don't think it's worth losing a whole extra weapon. But as always, you know, you do you. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. This is just how I do things, because I have one motto.
Efficiency, efficiency, efficiency.
That is why I don't take my characters at 90. I've started to get them close, if I can, because I now have a wealth of resources after playing for almost 600 days, and it's also why I don't have a single triple crowned character. For as much as I love Ito, which is a lot, as you could probably tell, I don't triple crown him, because as Ushi may hit like an absolute truck, and he is a unit, it doesn't really make much sense when Ushi is still a relatively low portion of his damage and level 9 is fine enough. I'd rather save that crown for someone who needs it more, because I typically crown the most important abilities of a character, things like Xiangling's Pyronado, or Zhongli's Shield, or Ganyu's Attack. Sometimes I'll leave things uncrowned if they are important just because I'm a hoarder. I am an absolute hoarder. I like to save my crowns because you never know when someone you really like is going to come out, and maybe that'll be when I want to triple crown them. And yes, there are characters we have right now that are totally worth triple crowning. I think triple crowning Hu Tao is fine. Triple crowning Xiao is great. Diluc is great. Like, there are plenty of other characters. But just once again, I'm a hoarder. I like to be prepared, and you never know. Character designs are getting insane. I think they're getting better and better. I'm not talking visual design necessarily, even though I do think that is getting better and better, but it's stayed at a pretty consistently high quality. But I'm talking character kits, and especially Constellations. I am basically feeling obligated to roll for every C2 because they look so damn fun, and I love ones that change playstyles. And obligated might be that's a bit of a strong word. I don't really mean I feel obligated. There are definitely ones I don't buy. It's just if it looks really fun, I really want it. But ultimately, I am responsible with my money as much as how much I've spent on Genshin says the total opposite. Just remember that this is a source of income. That means these are business expenses, so I absolutely do not want to inspire anyone to spend. I do want to emphasize how lucky I have been. My account may not have an insane amount, but what I can't show you because I didn't keep records of it is how lucky I generally get with my wishing. I have gotten so many doubles in 210 pulls. I've won so many 50-50s. I've barely ever gone to high pity, but of course I've been screwed by characters like Yai Miko, who made me go to not only like 90, but maybe go almost twice because I lost a 50-50. As for artifacts, I have a lot. I try to level a lot, and some of them may be equipped on weird people because I switch them around for video sometimes and I just kind of forget about them. I'll quickly go over all of them in the background as you've been seeing I've been doing. If you really want to see them that badly, you can slow down the video to like 0.25 times or something, or try to pause after every single one, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to click on every single one and linger it on the screen for 5 seconds because that would take forever. The artifacts aren't really directly related to being a whale necessarily. I do get 5 extra fragile resin per battle pass because I buy the most expensive one, and I do refresh my resin at least once every day, but a lot of that has also gone to ascending all the extra characters I have over a free-to-play account. But on any day where I'm not doing that, yes, it does go towards artifact domains, so I am getting a decent amount more progress than the average free-to-play or low-spending player would. I would go over my almost entirely free-to-play alt account while I'm here, but honestly, that would take up too much time in this video. I will just say that when you do have less characters, you're naturally going to funnel more resources into those characters, and you may actually end up having stronger characters than somebody like me who's a whale. Both my alt account and my girlfriend's main account have a lot stronger characters than mine when you compare them one-to-one because the resources aren't getting spread so thin on those accounts. Other than whale shit and stuff that has to do with spending money, I've 100%ed every single zone because, well, that's my favorite part of Genshin gameplay is exploration. I mean, like, the Abyss is fun. I mean, it was. But exploring new zones, you know, like the Breath of the Wild style gameplay, that's what drew me in, and that's my favorite part. Every single character in the game is friendship 10, yes, even Chi-Chi, which I did with her being level 20 out of 40, which, you know, may not have been the best of choice, but it was fine. I have basically every single hangout left to do because I'm lazy. I'm very, very lazy when it comes to these things. I hope you enjoyed this small look into what 5,500 mistakes looks like. I call them mistakes, but really, I have no regrets about how I spent my money. I spent within my means, and most importantly, I enjoy what I spend my money on, and that's all that matters really, as long as you're being responsible and that you enjoy how you're spending it. If you want to spend money to support the game you love or to just enjoy it a little bit more, that's great. Don't let anyone judge you and make you feel bad for doing something you love. Again, though, just be responsible. Games like this can be very predatory, you know, they're very good at making you want to spend your money and making you feel good when you do spend money. I've been no stranger to spending money on the games that I love, and I don't ever regret it, even if I quit the game after spending, you know, like $1,000 or even a couple $1,000s in some cases. I don't regret it because I enjoyed the time I spent with it just as I have with Genshin. If you love being free to play, that's great. Keep being free to play. All kinds of players matter. Free to play, whales, all of us. We all play our part in the community. Links to socials down below where you can find my Patreon, YouTube membership, and also join my Discord if you'd like to talk to me and my community, who are all fantastic people. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you have a good day. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.